Hello again, and what is hip, and welcome to a very overdue video. I'm so sorry it's been so long, but I was in the middle of graduate school finals and all of that, so I've been super busy, but I'm back, and as you can see here, I have a sickness in front of me. Today is going to be a pickups video from the last 3 to 4 months. So I swear this is not the past month, this isn't all Black Friday. It's kind of a mishmash of everything. I have Black Friday pickups in here, I have some retro pickups, I got some newer pickups, and it's my first pickups video. So I've always wanted to do one of these, so it's pretty exciting. So let's jump right into this because I have way too much. Yeah, I just wanted to preface this also. I'm very stingy when it comes to buying video games, and I'm sure a lot of you are out there as well. I only buy games usually if they're on sale, unless it's something crazy that I've been wanting or looking forward to. Or if it's an older item, I always make sure that I get it for, you know, at least 10 to 20% off market price most of the time. That's just, I don't know, maybe it's an OCD thing, but I've always been like that. I mean, it's also a broke college student thing as well, I'm sure. But anyway, let's get right into this. Where do we start? This is all exciting because I actually have not gone through each of these individually in quite some time. So let's just start. We'll start right here. We'll start with some retro pickups. So the first thing I have here is something I've been wanting for a very long time. I've recently been getting back into the Sega Genesis after the release of the Genesis Mini 2, and I have a video of that on my channel if you're interested. And I've always been into the Genesis since I was young, but I was never as into it like I was with the Nintendo. And one of the games that I missed out on was this game called Warsong, and I'm a very big fan of strategy RPGs. And for those of you who don't know, this is actually the first Langrisser, which is a very popular tactical RPG that was released in Japan, and it was brought over here as Warsong, and we never got any of the sequels until recently. On the, I think the Switch and maybe some other systems, they remade the first two, which are some games that I've been wanting for a while too, but those are kind of spendy. As was this, but I got a pretty good deal since it's a beat up rental from back in the day, which I think is super cool. But I played a little bit of this. It is crazy hard, but it is my goal to beat this game. So that is Warsong for the Sega Genesis. Now the next game I have here is Illusion of Gaia, and I've wanted this game for a very long time. I've never played it, but I've heard really great things about this, and I was able to get this for a pretty good price. I think it was like 25-30 bucks because this is a rental copy, but it does have the original box, but it's cut up, and it's got the manual, which is extremely beat up. And yeah, you know, I don't know, there's something about these rental copies that I think are so cool, so fascinating, and so unique. But I haven't played this yet, but I'm looking forward to doing so. So the next thing I have here, this is the Sega Genesis Mini 2. This is such a great mini console. I have a video of this on my channel, just doing a quick little overview and first impressions, but I really love this thing. It's gotten me back into the Sega Genesis craze. I was stuck on the Saturn and Dreamcast for quite a while, and I've always kind of forgotten about the Genesis, but I'm wanting to add some more to my Genesis collection now because of this little guy. Okay, so very rarely do I ever do GameCube pickups because they're just so flippin' expensive, but every once in a while on eBay you come across a deal, and this was one of those, and it was a 4-game lot. All of these games are pretty good. I got all these for about 35-ish bucks total. And the main game from this lot that made me want to buy this is Tales of Symphonia for the GameCube, and this is complete here. And this is a game that I've missed out on. I played my first Tales game recently, Tales of Arise, which was, I talked about a little bit on a video of my channel called Most Average Games. And so, if that doesn't give you a hint on how I feel about it, well, I think it's very average. But I've heard great things about Tales of Symphonia. I've heard it's the best in the series. And I know they're doing an HD remaster that's coming out on Switch and all the consoles, but it's based off the PS2 version, which is 30 frames a second. It does have some extra content, but this is 60 frames a second. So in many ways, the original GameCube version seems to be better than the HD remaster, which is a little odd and unfortunate. So this is going to be my preferred way to play it. I'm going to be playing through the game on the GameCube, and I'm looking forward to doing so. I'm a couple hours in, and I'm actually pretty into what I've played so far. Now, the next game in that lot was Soul Calibur 2, and this is a game that I've also been very interested in. I played the first Soul Calibur on the Dreamcast, and I was a big fan. And I remember going to Hollywood Video back in the day and seeing this game with Link on the front, and I was like, what is Link doing in a non-Zelda game? And I thought that was the craziest thing. But I've played a lot of this so far, and it is so much fun, and it's still dirt cheap, which is kind of surprising with the whole Nintendo exclusive Link on the front here. But I highly recommend this if you can find it. It's still affordable to this day, and it's a great fighter. Okay, now this game I actually had as a kid, and I think I got rid of it in a garage sale back in the day because I remember just getting so frustrated with it. And that is Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2. And this game, so there's PS2 version and there is the GameCube and I think Xbox version. The PS2 version was made by a different developer from what I've heard, and apparently it's better. It plays better than the GameCube and Xbox versions. But I've been playing this, and now I'm a little older, a little wiser, and I don't get as fed up with this game as I did back in the day. But this was a lot of fun to go back to, and it's, I don't know if any of you guys have experienced this, but like long lost games that you played as a kid and you haven't played for like 10-15 years, where the only thing you have left of that game is a very hazy memory. That was this game for me, and it's kind of surreal going back to it and playing it, for the first time in 15 years. But it was a really, really solid game, and it's very, very cheap. And the last game in that lot is a game I've never heard of before, and that is Dave Mirra Freestyle BMX 2. I didn't buy the lot for this game, so I had very little expectations, but I did play a little bit of it, and it reminds me of Tony Hawk Pro Skater, slightly. Not as good, but it's actually a solid little game from what I've played so far. I've only played probably half an hour, but I was going in expecting the worst, and I did not get that. So that says a lot right there. So yeah, Dave Mirra, Freestyle BMX 2. All right, so the next thing I got here is, I guess we'll jump into the Black Friday pickups here, even though they're mixed in with non-Black Friday. Actually, no, before that. So this right here is Ys 8, Lacrimosa of Donna, the limited edition for the PS5. And for those of you that don't know, this is a re-release of the game on PlayStation 5. It came out several years back on the Switch, PS4, and all that. And there was a limited edition. And that limited edition is so expensive now. Even the base game is very expensive. And so NIS decided to do a re-release of the limited edition on PS5, so I had to snatch that up. And I played a couple hours so far, and so far so good. But this is such a really well put together limited edition. And the steelbook is probably one of the coolest looking steelbooks I have ever seen. I'm not a steelbook collector. I don't go out of my way to get them, but this steelbook might tide me over. This is a really cool steelbook, and just like all of NIS's collector's editions, it has a soundtrack, which is amazing, as you can tell with my vinyl. I'm a big music lover, and I always appreciate a CD soundtrack in these collector's editions. So yeah, I'm very excited to delve deeper into this game. Did you guys pick this up? I don't know if you still can, but let me know in the comments. Okay, so the next game we have here is, okay, now we're getting into the Black Friday-ish pickups, even though some of them technically weren't on Black Friday. It was Black Friday month, basically. So the first thing I picked up here, non-video game related, but still cool nonetheless, Princess Mononoke, the steelbook here. I haven't seen this movie. I'm a big Studio Ghibli fan, and I've seen most of the movies except for Mononoke here, and this was on sale for like 10 bucks. So I'm very excited to check this out. It's been highly recommended to me. So the next game here wasn't Black Friday per se, but it was kinda. And this is Where the Heart Leads for the PlayStation 4, and this was under $10 on Amazon. And apparently I haven't heard anything about this game. But I've done some research, and it's almost kind of like a point-and-click adventure where you go back to this guy's past and relives his moments with his family and death and all of that. And I think you have the opportunity to change some things that might affect the future. It sounded really interesting to me, and it's not too often where I get a game where I know absolutely nothing about. So I'm very excited to try this game. I like those point-and-click, like Monkey Island kind of games, and yeah, hopefully this is good. So this was a Black Friday pickup. This is Pac-Man World Repack. I have the second Pac-Man World on the GameCube, and I loved that game growing up, and I've never played the first one. And this was very cheap. I think it was under $20 or something on Target, and I had to pick it up. So the next Black Friday pickup here is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Cowabunga Collection. And this was also, I think, $15, $20 on Target. And I'm a big fan of the TMNT games. I played some on the Game Boy. And yeah, I'm very excited to crack this open and play this with some friends. And the next thing here is technically not a Black Friday pickup, but again, it was Sega Genesis Classics, and this was $7 on Amazon. So this was an impulse buy. I have it on Switch, but I couldn't pass it up for that price. And again, with the Genesis Mini 2 coming out, I'm kind of in a Genesis craze, so I had to pick it up. Call the sickness. Okay, so sorry. Here is, I'm all over. I'm so tired from finals and everything where my mind is like, whew, going crazy. So this is Cruisin' USA, and this was a part of Double Jump Video Games Black Friday sale. And I think they had 15% off all used games. And this is one of the games I picked up, Cruisin' USA on the N64. I'm not a very big N64 collector. I don't even really care for the system too much, but the racing games I adore, and the cruising games I love. And I had to pick this up for like 14 bucks. So that was a really cool pickup, and I am excited to give this a play. Now, the next game I got here was from a store called SideQuest Video Games, and they also had a Black Friday sale, and it was the same thing, 15% off everything. And that is Mickey Speedway USA on the N64, and this is another one of those games where I played as a child, and I only kind of have hazy memories of it, but I really remember enjoying this game quite a lot. I rented this from Hollywood Video. So, and this is a game I've been wanting to get for the past 5-10 years, but I just never did. The price wasn't right, or whatever. So for 17-ish bucks, I figured that was a good price to jump in and play it again for the first time in 15 years. So, this was a cool one. This had like a flash sale of like $10, and this is Streets of Rage 4, the anniversary edition, and it has all the DLC, Mr. X, and stuff. I've never played. No, I have played. I played Streets of Rage 2 on the Genesis, and I really liked what I played. and I haven't played any of the other ones. So I've heard good things about this one, and I'm excited to jump into this one as well. So yeah, looks pretty cool. This next game here is a game I have heard about, but I don't really know anything about, but it was on sale for $10, and a $10 Switch game is an impulse buy almost all the time. This is Kaze and the Wild Masks, and from the video footage I've seen, it actually looks like a pretty fun platformer, almost maybe inspired a little bit by Majora's Mask, with these masks giving you different powers and stuff. But I've heard good things about it, and the pixel art looks really great. So I think this game has some potential, and I'm excited to kind of jump into this one. So keeping up with the point and click, here we have Life is Strange True Colors, and I'm not a big... I played the original Life is Strange, and I actually liked what I played of that, but I haven't played the series since. And this was on sale for $15 bucks, and I've heard that this is a standalone adventure, so that would be good for me since I haven't played the rest of the series completely. But I've heard some good things about it, and I do like this style of gameplay and emphasis on story. So yeah, I'm excited to give this one a try as well. I say that, but then I'll never get to it because I have such a huge backlog, and this is not helping. But that is the curse of Black Friday, isn't it? So here's a game series that I've never played before, but it's been recommended to me so many times. But I'm not a huge graphic novel fan, but I do like some of the stories and stuff that I've seen of this game. This is Danganronpa Decadence, so I guess it's the first 4 games of the series in one, and this was on sale for Black Friday, and I decided to pick it up because it never goes on sale. And these games tend to get a little more expensive as time goes on, so I figured I should jump on it now. I have a very long plane trip back to Oregon for Christmas and the holidays, so I might open this up and give it a try on the plane ride. So this is another game from Double Jump Video Game Sale, and this is Final Fantasy Tactics. And this is a little disappointing because this is the greatest hits version, and they didn't advertise it as the greatest hits version. I think they said on their website there's a chance you could get a greatest hits game, even though there's a picture of a black label. And I did get the greatest hits. Their black labels and greatest hits are priced the same, supposedly. So this was a little bit disappointing, but you know, I'm across the country and returning it is just too much of a hassle. But yeah, Final Fantasy Tactics, I've never played the game, but I've always wanted to. Again, I'm a big tactical RPG fan, and I've heard really, really great things about this game. So looking forward to giving this a try. So the next game here is a game I've wanted for so long. I've wanted this since I was a kid, and when I was younger, I actually used to emulate quite often, and this is one of the games that I emulated, and this is Sonic Advance for the Game Boy Advance. And I love this game. I've loved it since I was a kid, and I love it now, and it's so cool actually playing it on real hardware. And I got this from SideQuest Games, and it came with the manual too for about 15 bucks or so, and that's pretty cool. Yeah, the original's a little underrated. Actually, I think the whole Advance series is a little underrated, and I really think Sega needs to come out and re-release them all because they're really solid games, just like the Rush games on the DS. I've heard the original Advance is the weakest of the bunch, but 3 is apparently the best, and I haven't played that. So that is on my list of things to get. But Sonic Advance, such a good game. If you can find it for a good price, please pick it up. Okay, so Death Stranding, the director's cut. And I got this because it was cheap. I had no interest in I did have interest in Death Stranding, but after seeing some of the footage and the gameplay, I was like, I don't know. But for the price, I was like, I'll give it a try. And I've played quite a bit of this. I'm maybe 3/4 of the way through, and I still don't know how I what I think about this game. When I first started it, I was like, this is the worst game ever. This is not a game. This is an Amazon delivery simulator. And I know, because I was a delivery driver for Amazon for quite some time, and it was the same thing. But there's something intriguing about the game that didn't let me put the controller down. And that's kind of stayed throughout. I think it's a horrible game, but it's a very interesting experience that is good enough to the point where even though the gameplay is very boring, in my opinion, you're not going to want to put it down necessarily. So it's in a very strange position. It's not a good game, but it's not bad, and the story is really interesting. It's an interesting game, and I think that's been the consensus from everybody. It's an interesting game and experience. Alright, so I recently got an Xbox Series X, and one of the reasons why I got the Series X was for its backwards compatibility. I've never owned an Xbox machine before, and there's so many games I've missed out on over the years. And so I bought it for its backwards compatibility, and recently I've been on a kick of Xbox games that are backwards compatible with the machine. And one of the first ones here is Red Dead Redemption Game of the Year Edition. And I've played through most of the second game, and I loved it. I got it on release day, and it's such a good game. And I've always wanted to play the first. And it was on the Xbox backwards compatibility, so I got this during a Black Friday sale for pretty cheap, and now I have the original. So I've played a little bit, and I'm loving it so far. Not as good as the second one so far, in my opinion, but still so much fun. And the underdog of the Final Fantasy series, maybe rightfully so, maybe not, this is Final Fantasy 13. And say what you want about this game. I'm enjoying it so far. It's a game it's one of the only Final Fantasy games I missed out on. And, it's very linear. What I even call it a Final Fantasy game, maybe in looks and story, but not in gameplay necessarily. But say what you want about the game, the music, in my opinion, is probably the best in the series, if not the top 2 or 3. The music is so good, and I listen to it during my free time. I have the record in the back here, and it's so much fun. And the characters are really endearing too so far. But I'm really enjoying my time with this, and I've got to a point where it's kind of hard, so I put it down for a little bit, but I need to get back. And that's Final Fantasy 13. Okay. So, the next game here is Fallout New Vegas Ultimate Edition with all the DLC. I haven't played this yet, but I do love the Fallout series, so from what I've heard, this is the definitive way to play Fallout New Vegas on the Xbox Series X. Now, these two were not part of the Black Friday sale, but I'm so excited to have these. I love strategy guides, but more than that, I love strategy guides for weird Sega consoles, like the Sega Saturn and Sega CD. You just don't see them that often. And so I bought 2 strategy guides here. The first one being for the game They on the Sega CD, which is an old RPG for the system that is pretty good from what I've heard. And as you can see, all black and white, so there was not a lot of money put into this the strategy guide here, but it's still such a cool piece of gaming history. I have one that looks just like this for the original Lunar on the Sega CD, so this kind of goes right with it, so that is really cool. And I also have Lunar Eternal Blue, and this was a combo listing on eBay, and I got both of these for a total of like $60. And this one has a lot more effort into it. It's all color, which is really, really cool. I don't own this game, but I really, really want to at some point. It's just way too expensive for me in this current moment in time. But this is just so cool. I mean, how often do you run across old strategy guides for the Sega CD? So yeah. Alright, back to the Black Friday pickups. So, with the new Xbox, one series that I've completely missed out on is the Max Payne trilogy. And I have all three here. These games are a dime a dozen, so it's very, very cheap. But I've heard really great things about this series, and I've never played them before. So I'm looking forward to doing that, and I've heard that this is also the definitive way on the Series X now with the visual upgrades and such. So super cool to add these to my collection. So I got this game on a whim. I don't know anything about it, but I've heard good things about it. It's Scarlet Nexus. It was like $5-7 or something like that. And yeah, I don't know anything about it, but I needed some Xbox games in general since I don't have any. And I figured this would be a good game to get and try. So Scarlet Nexus. One game I have played on the original PlayStation 4. This is Judgment. This is a very good game, and this was also like $7-10 or something on Black Friday. I haven't beat it, so I figured I should get this for the Xbox since it was so cheap, and maybe get back to it. So this is Danganronpa Decadence. I got this from GameStop during their Black Friday sale as a new copy, and this is what they sent me. Yeah, I was probably as surprised as you are. You know, sometimes they send new games with no shrink wrap on. I half expect that. Never have I been sent one without the case. And there were marks on the game too. So I'm in the process of returning this. Yeah, because I mean, if you're selling a game as new, this is not new. Oy. All right, so another game from Black Friday, Monster Hunter Stories 2. And this was $20, and I've heard great things about this. And yeah, I've never played the Monster Hunter Stories games before, but I heard the one on the 3DS was a lot of fun. And I heard the sequel on Switch is just as good. So for $20, I figured it would be worth a try. This one I was very excited to see on Black Friday. This is the Capcom Fighting Collection. And I'm not the biggest fighting fan, but one of my favorite series of all time is the Night Warriors series that I played on the original PlayStation 1 and in the arcades a lot. And from what I've heard, this is the first time all of them have been re-released in one package. And those are the main reason why I picked this game up. I'm very excited for this. This was $25. And many nights of fun will be had with this. God of War. So with the recent release of Ragnarok, which I have not picked up, I decided all the reviews have been raving. I've never played the original God of War on the PlayStation 4, and I haven't played the original trilogy on PlayStation 2 and 3. So this was $10, and I figured I need to play this game. I'm overdue. So looking forward to giving this a try. Soul Hackers 2. I've heard that this was a major disappointment. But, I'm a big Atlas fan, and, it was on sale for Black Friday. I have to give it a try. It was $29. And I'll play it at some point, but I have a feeling I'm going to think it's very average as well, based off of the reviews I've seen. So, it might just end up sitting for a long time. Who knows? But I have the first Soul Hackers, and I loved that on the 3DS. So, I don't know. Maybe there's some hope, maybe there's not. Dark Cloud on the PlayStation 2. I got this during, I think it was Double Jump's Black Friday sale, and I've heard great things about this game, and I've always wanted to play it. So I got this for like $10, and to go along with that, I also got the Retro Fighters PlayStation 1 through PlayStation 3 wireless controller. I actually don't own an original PlayStation 2 controller. I have a GameStop branded one. And I needed a new controller, but I needed it to be wireless. And there aren't any wireless controllers for that system until just recently with the Retro Fighters PlayStation 1 through 3. It can be used for those 3 systems. And I think the Switch and PC too. And this was at Castlemania's Black Friday sale, so I think it was $30. And I gotta say, this is one of the best feeling controllers in general that I have held before. It just feels so comfortable in the hands. And I am, this was such a great investment. This will be my go-to controller for everything PlayStation 1 through at least 2. And very great controller, and I highly recommend this. One of the best third-party, might even be the best third-party controller I've ever experienced. Here's E8. So, going along with Final Fantasy XIII, I also got the sequel, Final Fantasy XIII-2. And I hear the 13 series, 13-1, 13-2, and Lightning Returns, just gets better with each game. So, and I think they might have added an open world or something. I'm not sure. I don't know anything about the sequels, so I'm very excited to get to these after I beat the original. So this is an RPG I actually had never heard of before, which is very rare. I'm well versed in the RPGs, but not with the Western RPGs. And this is Jade Empire, limited edition for the original Xbox. And apparently this is a really, really good RPG based on martial arts by BioWare, of all people. So I'm very excited to give this a try. I don't know anything about it. I haven't watched any gameplay, so I'll be going in completely blind. So I'm looking forward to doing that. And it's super cheap too. All right, Fallout 3, Game of the Year edition. I've never played Fallout 3. I played New Vegas, but I haven't played Fallout 3. So again, I've heard this on the Xbox. Series X is the best way to play it, and I had to pick this up for like $8. Okay, so this was my one other GameCube game that I picked up in the past 3 months, and I got this on Black Friday for, I think after everything, it was $28. This is Sonic Heroes for the Nintendo GameCube, and I have many memories renting this from Hollywood Video and playing the living death out of it. I loved this game as a kid. I didn't love it as much as Sonic Adventure, but I loved it quite a lot nonetheless. And I haven't played it in probably 10, 15 years, so I am super excited to be able to go back to this and give it another try with my older, wiser brain. And, I mean, how often do you get to pick up a good GameCube game for under $30? So the next game here is Horizon 2 Forbidden West, and I just turned this on for the first time the other day, and I'm enjoying it so far. It's beautiful. Probably the most beautiful PlayStation 5 game I've ever heard, or I've ever seen. And I've played the first one. I got a little bored halfway through, so I stopped playing it. But I've heard this one is better. I heard the story is better, and this was like $25. So I figured I'd give it a try. This is a really exciting one. This is Demon Throttle, and I have not seen a lot of coverage on this game, which is insane. This is by Devolver Digital and Doinksoft, and it's a shooter. It's an on-rails kind of shooter and platformer-ish shooter, and it's only ever going to be released physically. It will never ever be digital. That is its that's the thing it has going for it. So it's never going to be on the eShop or any digital store, and yeah, physical for the rest of its life, which is so cool and so unique. And from what I've played, it is very addicting. It is balls to the wall hard, but it's so much fun. And I haven't seen any coverage on this. Maybe I'm just looking in all the wrong places, but yeah, this needs to be covered more. And I think it was just released at Best Buy. I think it's being sold exclusively through Best Buy and Amazon. I could be wrong. Last month. So yeah, if you can get this, if it's still available, pick it up, please. It might be worth something one day. But more importantly, it's a very fun game, and you don't want to miss out on it. Here's another copy of Monster Hunters. I got this as a gift for a friend. Disco Elysium, the final cut. This was $10. I've heard amazing things about this. I watched Far From Subtle. I don't know if any of you guys watch them, but Fraser and Becky and them. I watched them play through this, and I was like, this looks fun. So pick that up. I'm excited to give this a try. Riders Republic. This was very cheap. It was $10, and it's an open world sports game. And I love the old SSX games and Tony Hawk and all that on the GameCube. And this looks almost kind of like an homage to that. So yeah, I haven't seen much on this, but I've heard it's pretty good. And I'm looking forward to giving this a try. Lost Judgment on the PlayStation 5. This was $15 on Black Friday, and it's a sequel to Judgment. So I'll probably play through the original Judgment first before I jump into this. But yeah, very excited to have this. Alright, we're getting towards the end here. This is King of Fighters 15. I've heard really great things about this fighting game. I love the King of Fighters series, and this was on sale for $15, $20, and I had to pick it up. I've heard great things about it. Oh, it was here the entire time. I told you I have school brain. This is Final Fantasy Tactics on the PSP, and supposedly the definitive edition of the game. And last but certainly not least, this is a very interesting one. So one game that I've been very interested in ever since I was a kid was called Rhapsody, a musical adventure on the PlayStation 1. And it's gotten very expensive throughout the years. And NIS, I didn't know this, so they do these little compilation deluxe editions for the Switch, and they'll do it with the Disgaea series and some other series as well, where there's like 2 or 3 games on a cartridge and they re-release them with a soundtrack and some other goodies. And they did this for Rhapsody, a musical adventure. And this was on sale for Black Friday for $30, and it was an instant buy for me. So this is it right here. And Rhapsody is, I believe, if I remember correctly, a tactical RPG. And it comes with, let's see, comes with the game, a softcover art book, and a 1-disc official soundtrack, which is pretty cool. And the box is very sturdy. NES always does some of the best collector's editions, they really do. And the other game it comes with is La Pucelle Ragnarok. I have heard of the Ragnarok series, but I've never heard of this game, and I've never played them. So I might delve into that a little bit. But the main reason I bought this was for Rhapsody, and I don't think Rhapsody is an amazing game, but I think it was a pretty decent game back in the day. Didn't reinvent the wheel from what I can remember. But regardless, I am very much looking forward to delving into these, and Rhapsody is a game I never thought would see the light of day ever again. So yeah, whew, that was a very long video. Thank you so much for sticking through the whole thing with me. Maybe I'll split it into 2 parts, depending. But yeah, no, this was the past 3-4 months. I swear I don't usually get this much, but we had Black Friday and everything mixed in there as well, and I don't think there was really more than 1 or 2 games I paid more than $30-ish for. Most were the 10 to 20, since I can't afford much more. Yeah, ramen noodles for the next couple months for me to recoup from all of this. But thank you so much, guys, for giving this a watch. And my first pickups video was a lot of fun to make. What are some of your Black Friday pickups? What are some of your favorite Black Friday pickups? I'd love to find out in the comments below. But thank you so much, guys. Have a good one.